Coming this fall from SJS Direct in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are struggling to find their way in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. You can pre-order your copy of The Man Crisis today on Amazon.com. Recently, we had an event here in New York which showed how desperate simps are to get the attention of women. Now, we had a group of men, at least if I think about 200 to 300, come all the way down to Union Square in Manhattan because they believed they had a date with Natasha Aponte, a female they met on the dating app Tinder. And as they got down to Union Square, this Natasha Aponte went out of her way to humiliate these men as she set up a stage and then tried to have these guys compete for her attention. And this whole incident shows how desperate many of these simps are out here to get the attention and approval of women, and how far they will go to compromise their intangibles of manhood, like their dignity and their self-respect, to get the attention and approval of women. Because I could see all the mistakes these guys made from their interactions with this female. And the first mistake they made was going to this Tinder website. Because any self-respecting man with self-confidence is not even going to think about considering going to an online dating site. Because any man with self-confidence, self-esteem, and self-worth, and a strong sense of self-image, what he's going to do is he's only going to deal with women who he has interactions with face to face. Because in a face-to-face interaction, he can then assess that woman's body language, he can then assess her interest in him, and then he can decide if he wants to go forward with that woman. Because a man with high self-esteem, high self-worth, high self-value, and strong self-confidence, he knows that he is the prize and that the woman has to show him why she is worthy of his attention. And these beta males who did not understand how dating and relationships work, this is why they were on that Tinder website, because they were looking for an easy way to get the attention of a woman, and they didn't want to sharpen their social skills, and they didn't want to go out here and deal with rejection. So they decided they were going to go on this Tinder app. They saw the photo of this so-called attractive model and actress, and they thought because she responded to them that this was a positive sign. Now, a guy like me, I know that a woman, when she says model and actress, I know that's just a bum female. So I look at that female and I say, that's not somebody I would consider a woman of character, or a woman I would want to consider as being someone I would consider for a relationship. Because when I look at a woman for a relationship, I'm looking for intangibles like her core values, her character, and I'm looking at her moral position. And I know how actresses get down, so that's not a female I would want to consider in the first place. And I definitely, again, would not be on a website like a Tinder, because only desperate guys would go on a website like a Tinder to try to get with women. Because only guys with no confidence are going to go to a website like Tinder, and only guys with no confidence are going to fall for the games that this female was playing with them. And this female showed how she was playing games with these beta males, because in their interactions, she abruptly cut off the interaction. Now, most guys, after having an interaction with a female and they see that she cuts off all communications with them, guess what those guys are going to do? They're going to charge that female to the game, and they're going to keep it moving. But these beta males, after getting a notice from this female weeks after cutting off the connection, they think they've got a shot with this female. And that was one of those things that was a red flag to me, because any smart guy is going to say after one call or one text, that's going to tell me if the female is interested. And if I give her one call and one text, we're going to set up a meeting where we're going to meet then. We're not going to sit up there and wait weeks to figure out whether she wants to meet with you. Because whenever a woman is interested in you, she is going to start making plans to make herself available to you as soon as possible. But these beta males, they could not connect the dots regarding this female and her predatory behavior, and that's why she exploited them and humiliated them in the way that she did. Because any man with character understands that when you talk to a female for and then she just cuts off connections, she's showing you that she either has another man in her life or she's just looking to play with you and she sees you as a joke. A guy who understands how things go in social interactions understands, again, that woman, after talking to you within 4 or 5 minutes, she's going to either try to set up something with you or she's going to give you her phone number to let you know that you can call her. And after you make that call, she's going to start making plans to make herself available to you. Because women who are interested in you, they're going to let you know very, very quickly that they are interested and they want to spend more time with you. Now, this female, what she was doing was she cut these guys off. She knew she had beta males because they were paying attention to her. They were on this website and they were eager and desperate. And then when she came back a couple of weeks later saying she wanted to have this date, that's when these guys really got snookered. Because any smart guy, again, when he has an interaction with a female, they're going to work towards closing that deal as soon as possible. But the beta males who don't know how social interactions work, they're going to think, oh, a woman calling me 3-4 weeks later to set up a date, that's perfectly fine. No, that's a red flag that either whoever she was with is now gone and she's looking at you as a last resort, or she's setting you up to take a fall. And this Natasha Aponte, she set all those guys up for a fall because many of those guys just didn't understand social cues, nor did they understand how to deal with females in social interactions. Because whenever you have a female, again, who is available, she's going to make herself available to you sooner rather than later, and usually it's ASAP that she's going to make herself available to you. But these guys thinking weeks later that they had some sort of chance, and they decided to go down there believing that they had a chance at this date. And what really was mind-boggling to me is seeing all those guys, they're taking their time to get on trains, taking their time to drive down to Union Square, and not having the critical thinking skills to say, hey, something is wrong here if there are 200 to 300 of us downtown looking for the same female. That, to me, would be a red flag to say, you know what, it's time for me to get back on that train and head out of here because this is looking like a setup. But these beta males, because they were so thirsty for a chance to get a taste of that atomic waste between this female's legs, they decided they were going to stay and hang around in the hopes of getting the attention of this female. And when they did that, they sacrificed two important intangibles of their manhood, their dignity, and their self-respect. Because any man with dignity and self-respect understands that he has a value as a man, he has a worth as a man, and if the man is the prize, which he is going to say that I'm not going to lower my value by standing here to compete with 200 to 300 other men for the attention of a female in a world where there are 4 females for every 1 man. Because in a world where we have 4 females for every 1 man, a man does not have to sit here and sacrifice his dignity all because a woman says she's a model and an actress. Because there are hundreds of these so-called model actresses, and if you have enough resources, they will come to you. So a smart man wouldn't even have gone down to that Union Square. And if a guy did go down there and he had some critical thinking skills, he's gonna see all these dudes and he's gonna bounce because he understands again, he has value as a man. But these beta males, because they were so desperate for this female's attention, they stood there, waited for her to get on stage, and then she sat there and then started creating this Hunger Games style competition, watching these men humiliate and degrade themselves. This was like the ultimate form of simping right here. You have this female on stage mocking these men, disrespecting these men, and these men, gullible as they were, going to compete for the attention of a female who has already shown you she has no respect for you. That's what was so sad about that whole incident at Union Square, is that these men were so desperate for the attention of what they believed to be an attractive woman on the outside. They weren't looking at her values and character as related to her intangibles of womanhood on the inside. Because a woman who respects a man, values a man, and has some sort of character about herself, she is not going to have her man out there or potential mate out here sacrificing his dignity and self-respect just to get her attention. No, in this crop test this female was pulling, she was trying to see how she could embarrass and degrade these men, just like your Bachelorette does with all of those simps on that ABC reality show. Because when it comes down to a simp, this is a man who places himself in a submissive position just to get the attention and approval of women, not understanding what he is sacrificing to get that attention and approval. And again, he is sacrificing his intangibles of manhood, his dignity, his self-respect, his self-worth, the things that should be more important to him than anything outside of his relationship with God and his own life. Because if a man does not have intangibles of manhood, that means he is completely spineless, he is completely weak, and people can do whatever they please to him. And all of those men, by competing for that woman's affection, showed how little respect they had for themselves, because no man who had self-respect would be down there at Union Square to meet with this female, because again, any critical thinking man from minute one would not even think about being on that garbage Tinder website looking for women. No, confident men who understand they are the prize know that there are opportunities at getting connections with women every day, and that women who are interested in them, they don't have to go to a website to get the attention of a man, because there are men everywhere who will be interested in them, because there are men out here every day that they interact with who could be possible mates for a relationship. No, the only people who go to Tinder are desperate beta males who have no social skills, and these are the people who were set up by this female and the marketing company that created this stunt. Because this was the exact same company that created the stunt where we had this female walking around for 10 hours and talking about catcalls and talking about street harassment and making this whole false argument again in an attempt to bait these beta male simps into giving this female attention that she does not deserve, and giving her attention for things that have no value. Now, any man out here understands he can see all these attractive women and walk right by them, because he understands as the prize, he is the one with the value, and the woman has to show him how she is worthy of his attention and how she is worthy of his time. Because as a woman, her role is to be the helpmeet and support, And as the helpmate and support, she's supposed to show you how she helps you meet your needs, not how you meet her needs. Because as the leader, you are the one who's supposed to be setting the tone. You are the one who's supposed to be taking the lead. You are the one who's supposed to be setting the standard. But when it comes down to these beta males out here, they have not gotten an education in manhood. And because they have not gotten a proper education in manhood from men like their fathers or men in their communities, this is why these guys wind up falling into traps like this, and they wind up being embarrassed and humiliated by females like this Natasha Aponte and like the marketing company that choreographed this disaster, which was designed to humiliate and emasculate men and make men out to be a joke, that to be entertainment for women. If you want to learn how to be the kind of man who does not fall into traps like this, I urge you to pick up my book, Stop Simping, Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance, Manginas, They Look Like Men But They Act Like Ladies, and The Misadventures of Captain Save-A-Ho, and the upcoming Man Crisis on Amazon.com. After you read these books, you will not fall into traps by predatory females like this, and you will be able to understand how to deal with women in basic social interactions. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.